right now we are walking through the 14 stations that were the journey of Jesus Christ on the day of his death, and we are starting off. And what I wanted to do is explain the journey of Jesus as a journey of consciousness. And my book is about the third Jesus. The first Jesus is the historical Jesus. You can learn all about the historical Jesus from historian Josephus and also from the four Gospels. And this is the location of the historical Jesus. The second Jesus is the theological Jesus, the Jesus of ideology, dogma, and the church. And the theological Jesus is, of course, been problematic. We've had crusades and inquisitions and witch hunts and the bombing of abortion clinics and homophobia in the name of the theological Jesus. I want to talk about the third Jesus, which is a Jesus of the state of consciousness.
A spiritual Jesus?
Yeah, spiritual Jesus, a state of consciousness that we all aspire to. So what I want to do is, as we're going through 14 stations, I want to take each station with one little kind of idea of what he might have meant.
And this one?
And this one
is the first one.
Is the first one. So we can start off with the verse that says, "The kingdom of heaven is inside you." So what does he mean? The kingdom of heaven is inside you. So when he says the kingdom of heaven is inside you, he's saying that the kingdom of heaven is a state of consciousness. It's not a location in space-time. And today we understand that that consciousness is a field of possibilities where everything is connected to everything else, where there's creativity, where we actualize the power of our intention, where we are comfortable with uncertainty.
So the world of possibilities
is
inside.
Yes. Rumi, the Sufi poet Rumi, says the whole universe exists inside you. Ask all from yourself. So that's the first lesson. I would say kingdom of heaven is a state of consciousness and it's a field of infinite possibilities.
Right. So we continue.
Let's go to the second lesson.
The second one?
Yeah, the second insight. I'm in this world and not of it. So what does that mean? It means in this world is local, in the world of space-time and causality. And not of it is non-local, the domain which is outside, transcendent. So it simply means that, if you want to be integrated, you have to be both in the material world and the spiritual world at the same time.
So there's no such thing as just being spiritual. I mean, it has to do something with the reality.
It's immanent and transcendent at the same time. The world that is material is the one which we experience through our senses, space, time, causation, information, energy, matter. And it's the product of another domain which is outside of space-time. And so again, it's a lesson for all of us that we can be in both places at the same time. But the third lesson actually says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." And the word yoke actually means union. It's the same word as the word yoga. Your yoke is easy and your burden is light when you're established in the field of consciousness. And there, when we speak of yoga, we say the yoga of love, the yoga of action, the yoga of knowledge, and the yoga of understanding. These are the different ways that we reach the source. And when we reach the source, then there is effortless spontaneity. So when he says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light," he's talking about effortless spontaneity that comes from being established in being and being active in the world at the same time. Being in an ever-present, silent, witnessing mode, knowing that you are not the roles you're playing. 4, ask and you shall receive. What does it mean? It means that all fulfillment in life comes from within you. If you think that money will make you happy, or weapons will make you secure, or technology will make you healthy, you are not looking in the right direction. Fulfillment comes from the creativity that is within yourself. And you begin the first step by asking questions. When you ask questions, then the universe responds. And in fact, the universe is compelled to respond.
So if the goal is to be happy, you write it down, you go with it?
No, if the goal is to be happy, you have to know, first of all, what's the mechanics of that. And then you have to execute the mechanics, but first you have to ask the question, what makes me happy? So, we are on station 5, I believe. Jesus leaned against this wall, it seems. That's his handprint. So they say. So anyway, lesson 5 is forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. Basically, the idea that suffering comes when we experience the separate self. As long as you hold a resentment or a grievance against someone, you block your creativity. So if you want to access your creativity, then you have to let go of all grievances. Holding a grievance is like drinking poison and thinking it will kill your enemy.
Just keep your hand. I wonder if your hand is fit to the print.
I think, if you really understand, everybody's hand is fit to the print. 6 is actually from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God.
It's
from the Psalms, from the Bible. And it speaks for itself. That, the abstract, the absolute is beyond words, beyond thought, undescribable, undefinable, infinite, eternal, transcendent, and the only way to find the true source of the consciousness behind your thoughts is through the stillness, because the consciousness behind your thoughts is the consciousness behind all the intelligent activity of the whole universe.
So the key is silence?
The key is to go to that part of your mind which is beyond thoughts. silence. Lesson 7. As you sow, so shall you reap. It's the law of karma.
As you sow.
Whatever choice you make now will have repercussions in the future. So make your choices consciously. But it's also, there's another deep law in there, and that is that the world is a mirror of what's happening inside you. Every relationship, every situation, every circumstance, every event in your life is a reflection of the state of consciousness you're in. And if you don't like what's happening around you, and you can't do anything out there, you have to turn the switch in here. Okay, session number 8. Resist not evil. Resist not evil.
How?
What does that mean? That means that evil is not your enemy. Evil is the projection of our collective shadow. So all of us have both divine and diabolical, sacred and profane, forbidden lust, unconditional love. When you confront the diabolical inside you, you see that what we call evil is the projection of our collective shadow. And the only way to go beyond evil is to confront our own shadows, to embrace them, to become familiar with them, and in doing so, forgive them, and then you automatically forgive the shadow of the other, which means you decrease the evil in the world. So, lesson 9, in my Father's house are many mansions. So lesson 9, again I'll repeat, in my Father's house there are many mansions. What does it mean? It means that knowledge is different in different states of consciousness. That reality is different in different states of consciousness. Perception is different in different states of consciousness. So depending on what consciousness we are in, everything changes. Behavior, cognition, emotions, feelings, moods, relationships, environment, interaction with the forces of nature. The whole world exists in our consciousness. We don't exist in the world exists in us. That's exactly what that phrase means. Then the 10th one is, so do not worry about tomorrow. So do not worry about tomorrow. The divine is found in the present moment. If you're totally in the present moment, then you create both your past and future. Normally people think that the past creates the future, but it doesn't. The past is gone, it's dead, it's not here. The future is also in our imagination. This moment is totally free, and the choices that you make in this moment will create what will become your past and also what will become your future.
Yeah.
So the next one is, you are the light of the world. What does that mean? You are the light of the world. I think what it says is that we are the instrument through which the universe sees itself. So when you look at something, you're not looking at that thing. The universe is looking at itself
through you.
Through you. And when you are in that state of consciousness, then everything you see is actually yourself, because you're the light of the world. God is looking at itself through a nervous system with a particular point of view. So God looks through every nervous system. God looks at himself from a particular point of view. That's the light of the world. Next one is, you must be born from above, which is very actually appropriate for this location, because in order to be born, you have to die. Okay, so it really means that death is the ticket to life. The crucifixion is death, it's repentance, it's letting go of the past, and the resurrection is recreation. So if you want to create something new in your life, you have to get rid of something that's not serving you anymore. Yeah, so get rid of a toxic relationship, or a toxic habit, or a toxic emotion. If you want to create something new, you have to create the emptiness inside you that comes from letting something else die.
Okay. So we're in the 13th step, or the 13th station.
Station, step, whatever. Abide in me as I abide in you.
What's abide?
Abide, live. Live in me as I live in you. What it really means is there's no such thing as a person. A person is just the recycling of every other person. My body is recycled, every other body. My breath is recycled air. My water is my circulation is recycled water. My personality is recycled relationships. So in Buddhism they say.
Yeah, it reminds me of Buddhism.
Yeah, we are inter-beings that inter-arise in the inter-isness.
But you say to find your true own self, your field.
When you find yourself.
So if there's no self, how can I find my true self?
I said there's no such thing as a person. The self is beyond the person.
Explain me.
When I find myself, then I realize that what I called a person, Deepak, is a transient manifestation of an infinite consciousness. This transient, who's Deepak? I'm, the one you're speaking to now, but this was a teenager once upon a time, different body, different mind, different personality. Was a child. So which one of them is me? Okay, it's my destiny to play an infinity of roles, but I'm not the roles I'm playing. The Christian theologian Teilhard de Chardin said, we're not human beings that have an occasional spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings that have an occasional human experience.
So when you say find your true self, is self now? Is self...
No.
What's the self here?
That self is eternal. It's every other self. When I truly find myself, then I find that it's a domain of consciousness where I'm inseparable from every other sentient being that exists in the universe. Then I feel love, compassion. So there you project yourself both as a person and all the experiences of that person. So the real me is not Deepak, but the real me is a state of consciousness that's projecting Deepak and you and this building. Abide in me as I abide in you. Number 14.
Yeah.
When 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I will be there amongst them. So, of course, when Jesus says my, most people think, oh, it's talking about a person. But, I think, in Hebrew there's a word, ruach. Ruach.
Spirit.
Yeah, but ruach Adonai. What does that mean? Ruach Adonai is the divine breath.
Yeah.
Okay, so when he says when two or more, that's the word me. Me is Ruach Adonai. It's Enna, Enna. And in Aramaic, Enna is the I within the I. So when two or three are collected with that intention and that awareness, then anything is possible. It's the power of collective consciousness. When many people have the same intention and they're grounded in collective consciousness, for good or for evil, then that intention orchestrates its fulfillment.
To what you were telling about faith versus reality, look over this thing. This is
So, 5. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Undescribable, undefinable is through infinite, the stillness. Because the consciousness behind your thoughts, mind is the which is beyond thoughts. Yeah, silence.
So.
As you sow, so shall you reap. It's the law of karma. The world is a mirror of what's happening inside you. Every religion, and if you don't like what's happening around you, and you can't do anything out there, you have to turn the switch in. Okay, session number 8. Resist, give them, and then you automatically forgive the shadow of the other.
You're saying like a sentence, like understanding.
If you really understand these expressions, there's a shift in our own consciousness.
מה זה? לא, זה מה שהוא צריך, אחרי זה אני אעמיד אותו שם.
Many mansions. So lesson 9, again I'll repeat, in different states of consciousness. So depending on what
everything is subjective. I mean,
the whole world grown older, live in the present moment, yes. Which means I know the present is the only moment that never ends.
And you're saying not think about the future or the past. I mean,
constantly aware of the observer in the mid. Yeah.
The observer, which is you.
Which is me, and you're
Remember,
my project. It is.
We did.
Resist not evil. You are the light of the world. What does that mean? When you are in that state of consciousness, then everything you see is actually yourself.
The world uses me
through a nervous system with a particular location, because in order to be born, it's letting go of the past, and the resurrection is a toxic emotion. If you want to.
Ethiopian. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go down to the church.
Yeah. Almost there. Where do you want to do this? Next one?
Where is...
We did on depth.
Can, I like it.
It really means that there's no such thing as a person. Like relationships. So, in Buddhism they say...
it reminds me of Buddhism. How can I find my true self?
Is a transient manifestation of spiritual beings that have an occasional human experience.
So when you say find your...
That it's a domain of consciousness where I'm inseparable from me as I abide in you.
I'm so confused.
It takes time. That's why I wrote the book. When Jesus says my, most people think, it's talking